Hi, everybody. I'm going to be your trainer for tonight. Because this is a brand new unit, we usually like to do an induction. So this will be part one, and then we have two smaller recordings after this. Both of them are discussions with the class around the particular unit that you're doing, which is CHCC OM006. But for a beginning, usually when we have a brand new unit, we like to do an induction, which might help with some of the onboarding around being a new learner. So as you come into our classes, you might meet some people who have progressed further down the line with their studies. But for every new unit, it is always brand new for everybody. So we only ever start learners at the beginning of a new unit. This one goes for 2 weeks. I am not your regular trainer. Your regular trainer will be back next week, though we do like to have different trainers jump into that space as well. So I am one of the trainers, also the program manager for the training team with Hayter Institute. So it's my pleasure to welcome you and then to do the induction for you as well. To begin with, let's do our acknowledgement to country. So in the spirit of reconciliation, Hayter Institute of Education acknowledges the traditional custodians of country throughout Australia and their connections to land, sea and community. We recognise Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people as the first inhabitants of this nation and the traditional custodians of the land on which we work, live and study. We express our gratitude for the sharing of this land, our sorrow for the personal, spiritual and cultural costs of that sharing, and hope that we may move forward together in harmony and in the spirit of healing. We pay our respect to all First Nation people and acknowledge elders past, present and emerging, and extend that respect out to any of our learners who are enrolled and watching. So a little bit about Hayter and you. At the end of this brief induction, I'll explain to you about how the structure of the class works, how we make it relevant to your assessment, that you've got resources, which is your learner's guide and some other extra resources as well in your learner's portal. What we expect when you come into class, that you get this as a recording within 48 hours afterwards. And because we understand that in all adult learners, there can be competing priorities, you may not be able to watch the class in real time, but you will get the recording. Even if you come to class, you'll get this recording. So it's an excellent resource. You can play it back and help yourself with a particular assessment, even going back over what do we talk about. So in your portal, you will find your e-learning to start with, and that's a practice run. And then you can move over to your assessments, but you're really not required to do the e-learning if you don't want to. It's just kind of like a practice run, get used to some language as well and see how you're going, you know, but otherwise move over to your assessment work. What to expect when you're studying with the diploma level, which is what you're doing, the diploma of AOD. Know that you are really going to need between 10 and 20 hours each week. That'll include class and some reading and that as well. There's also a little bit of extra research that you might do and maybe playing back the recording as well. Your assessments, if there's 2 weeks, then it's a good estimate that 2 weeks after the class is finished for that unit, then your assessment would be due. But at Hayter, we have no penalty at all for you around due dates. They're simply a guide to be able to help you structure and plan. So if you've got 21 different units and you've got 18 months to do that, then you're going to pace yourself. But it's structured self-paced learning, which means that if you are moving quicker than what the training plan is saying, then please reach out to our team and I'll give you that email at the end. They will open up more units for you. We work at your pace. So if someone's going to need a little bit more time or things have come up, then we will slow that down for you as well. It's entirely up to you. So there is no penalty. There's no fixed due date. It's just there to help you. And every one of our learners has access to a trainer for 1 hour each month. So we can talk assessments around it. What does this mean? You can also contact our learner support team. How to look after yourself while you're studying is very important. Get that balance in, and who to go to get support, which I'll cover for you. We talk about housekeeping a little bit, and because it's a brand new unit, I'm doing our housekeeping here for our class. So we look for class participation, great discussion, which of course we will have tonight. If it's a big class, you can put your hand up, someone will see you. However, if it's a smaller class, it's no different to how we are in our workplace. So we just wait for a gap in the traffic and we say something, or we will just contribute. Some people are listeners and observers, and that's how they best learn. So we don't know what that is yet. We need to get to know each other, but then you may not know either how you best learn. So we want to let you know that it's a very individualized process for you as well. And we have learner support meetings if you need that one-on-one. Cameras on when you're in class. It's a virtual classroom. Yes, we do online training. That's your written work. However, our classes are very interactive, and it's a virtual classroom. If we were in a classroom, we would not turn our back and face a wall. But of course, I appreciate that maybe there's some privacy that you need. Just make sure that your background is de-identifying so that you're in a setting that you feel comfortable. I've chosen this virtual background, but when we're doing the class, you'll see that I've chosen the Hader one. So this background is not real. That's a virtual one. I've just taken a picture and I've put it there in my background. But when I'm doing role plays or something, I'll just say, well, this is my simulated workplace environment, which a role play asks you to do that. So it'll be, I've got 2 chairs, and then of course I came in through a door and there's brochures, and that there's a I might go, there's a window, so it's well ventilated, and behind me I've got an exit where I can exit safely if I need to in a hurry. That I have water and I have pen and paper here because I might be looking for a consent form to be signed or a referral, or to take notes in my case plan notes. And I will just let my clients know that's what I'm doing. So set that scene. When you're actually in a role play, we will ask you to identify yourself. So you might go, oh, my name's Vicky Hannah, show your photo ID, or you can just say, this is my Hader student number, and I am doing unit, task number, and the role play. And this role play is about Harry, and Harry is presenting with issues around AOD. And homelessness. So it just depends on what it is. Introduce yourself and make sure that you're in that space. So when we jump into class, it's a professional setting as well. So it is a professional classroom. We have class break times. I'm notoriously not great at that. We aim for 7 p.m. till 7:10 and then 8 p.m. till 8:10 so that you can have a breather, get up and stretch. No smoking or vaping on camera, but you are working from home, the same as what we are. So that is, we wouldn't smoke or vape in front of our clients. So we would not bring that into our classroom. Being mindful of any trigger warning. It could be something that you hear, something that someone says. It could be your written material, or it could be the content topic. So just step away, just go off camera. Immediately you have privacy. We might also have breakout rooms. Now that may not be a comfortable place for you to be in. Know that you are giving consent. So if it says join, you don't have to. You can not join. You can come back to the space where your trainer is, or you can take that opportunity to just go over some of your reading material. This is all about you being comfortable. There's no recording done in a breakout room because we want that to be safe storytelling. And of course, I want to remind everyone that our respectful relationship means that everything we say here is private and confidential. So we would never share a person's name from class because we are intent on privacy and confidentiality. And even though the recording can only be viewed and only opened by someone who has a header link, know that your privacy is very important to us. And we are governed by both state, territory laws and Commonwealth laws around privacy. So the Privacy Act of 1988 filters through absolutely everything. So if I send an email to a group of people, it will never have everybody else's email sitting in there. And these are the practices that I need you to be able to do as well. So I can't give out another learner's email. We encourage you to go to LSO if you're making a booking or if you've got any questions. But if you're in touch with another learner because you've shared that information, then you have given consent, and that's between you guys. So we're not micromanaging in that space. We're just saying to you that we have to guard your private and confidential information closely, and that includes your address and phone numbers and as well. And then be kind to yourself. Make sure that you make time for some balance and activities. I am not necessarily a structured learner. You might be. I tend to leave it and empower it all in. But some people like to do a little bit of study every day. So when I'm doing diploma work, I will give it the 10 hours every week, but it might be in blocks, 2 half days that I will do that. You'll discover your side of studying. So philosophy, values that sit around HADA, self-directed learning, so you can move as fast or as quickly as you like, and you can ask for some units to be open, or you might like to be more chilled and lean back and pace yourself. You can have that at the pace that you're most comfortable. You can ask for extensions, you can ask for deferrals. Just let us know what it is that you need, and we'll adjust those things for you. So adult learners are usually goal orientated. So when you enrolled, you had a why. When I get this qualification, this is what I would like to do with it. It may open up career pathways for you. It might be some professional development. You might work in the sector and be interested in doing this work. You may be someone with a lived experience and move into that peer support space. Highly valued workers, lived experience is definitely something that the government want to fund. And given that most jobs in the community sectors are funded by government one way or the other, then know that there is a high priority of hiring people with a lived experience. And it may not be yours, but it could be someone near and dear to you. Managing different viewpoints professionally. People don't always agree with each other, and that's fine. Our clients don't have to agree with us, but we manage everything professionally. Be flexible with yourself and supportive and safe learning environments for all learners. Look, I like to adjust things to suit my class, and the class can go any particular direction as long as it's relevant to the studies and it adds value for people who come into that space. You get to ask questions about the unit that you're working on, or you might hear some other people in our spot where we have frequently asked questions. It's like, it's a great time, I'm not recording, please ask away. So every trainer is different, and you might have different trainers, but it'll be the same subject, just a slightly different style. Your expectations is very important. I know that I'm speaking on behalf of the CEO, Marcus Sullen. That is his absolute priority, that we meet learners' expectations. They need to be realistic. However, that is a priority for all of us. It's the most important thing for him, that we are meeting the expectations that you have as you come in, and that the training staff do as well. and then what you can expect from your trainers, and then what we expect from you as a learner. And then self-disclosure during classroom discussions is not encouraged. So that sharing of a story, if it's relevant and it's not too sensitive, absolutely, because we record and we're mindful of that. However, in breakout rooms where we don't record, you can speak freely there. Usually if I send people into a breakout room, I give you a task, and I want that task to come back and I want to hear where you went with it. But I'll also ask you, what was an unexpected learning? And the breakout room is meant to be around something to do with your assessment. There's different models that we use. So some people are motivated intrinsically, comes from within. I know what drives me is my legacy work, but extrinsic is something that comes externally. So it's like, oh, I'm going to get a promotion, or I need this piece of paper. Intrinsically is like, I really am drawn to doing this kind of work. And I know that any role you have in the community sector, it will require a commitment, but for you to be well while you're doing this work is your priority. So for 29 years, every single day that I've worked in the sector, I have kept a reflection journal. Started off with fancy ones and then moved to cheap exercise books. But really, that's my debrief structure that I do. So I just draw a line down the middle, and on one side I've got a positive sign and a negative sign. What went well today goes in my positive column. What could I do differently goes in my negative column. I'll identify it. Struggled with this. And that'll be my area where I give it my priority and focus. And then on the bottom, I'll have my notes. I will add how many glasses of water I've had in a day, if I'm feeling fatigued, if it's a full moon, if I've been feeling really rushed, then I just leave that. And then in the end, at the month's end, I'll go back and go, there's a pattern. When I'm not sleeping well, when I've had more coffee than I need, when I haven't drunk enough water, something happens to my physical being, or our emotional or our social well-being. So we need to be self-reflective so that we know how we look after ourselves. Just get up, stretch and walk and have 10 minutes. You'll need to do this as a worker in the sector, because if you don't, layer upon layer, you will find that those stories will sit somewhere and it will sneak up on you. So you need to have that well-being balance. The way to do that is make sure that you've got some really good mindfulness strategies that you have in place. So here we have different mindsets. I'll let you watch that. That recording will come through. Fixed or growth, be curious. Probably the most important thing that I can say is like, just be open to it, because we need to for our clients anyway. So I like to ask people what their why is. What did they hope that they would get out of that? You'd like to work in the industry, in alcohol and other drug. There's lots of different programs. Often they sit beside a mental health program or another community program. Even if you're working in a job agency, you're going to be working with people who are dealing with a range of complex issues. And then how do you feel about the study that you're doing? That will go up and down as well. There'll be times where you go, this is great. This one I'm moving through. I feel really confident. Then there'll be others that will be a bit of a challenge for you. Know that you've got that support. Reach out. We all get stuck. Just don't stay stuck. Okay. Yeah. This one here is just to unpack some feelings. Some people will say, I feel really overwhelmed, seeing all of the assessments to do. Just step back, just one task at a time. Most units or modules, some people call them, it has a task 1, 2, 3, and maybe 4. Some only have 2. Some only have 1. Some have 3. There could be written, which is your key learnings, your knowledge-based questions, and then you have your practitioner skills, which is your role plays in a simulated workplace environment. So what we mean by a simulated workplace environment, that's really about your skills. But this behind me is a simulated workplace environment. So you can create that sits in there in your recording or you've got it. If you blur your background, then you need to be able to say, I am sitting in a room, and describe the room. And I would say, I've got 2 chairs behind me. I've got well-ventilated room. I've got an exit door there, brochures as you come in. I've got water. I've got pen and paper. So make sure that you are recreating a simulated workplace environment as well, because your practitioner's skills are going to be assessed. We have a duty of care to make sure that you are confident to the best of your ability to know what it is that you're going out to when you work in the sector. So your attendance, it can be by recording or in real time. Manage your time. Some people love coming in to live class and find that interaction is helpful. But then there are times where you really just cannot be there, or you want to take that 3 hours and invest that back in your studies and then listen to the content later. It's your resource, you keep it. So your results, we attempt to have your assessments marked within 48 hours. When you're doing your work, make sure you reference it if you're getting that work from somewhere else. If you use AI, we have an auto thing which will pick it up. So you might get feedback and you cannot use AI, you must use your own words. However, lots of places will use AI to help them unpack it and put clarity around it and a better understanding. That's great, but you can't copy and paste anything from AI. It will just turn up automatically in your Accelerate system, and it will say how much content is yours and how much isn't, and you'll get feedback. It's not satisfactory. I'd like to hear your own thoughts around that, is usually what you would get in feedback. Copy and save your own work. That's helpful, just in case. And then responsibility for time management does really sit with you guys rather than us. And then you submit your work into Accelerate. That also falls into your space as well. So we talk about rolling starts or rolling enrollments. We start people at the beginning of a brand new unit. But then also, if you've done some units, then you can get a credit transfer for that. You do that with our learner support officers at lso@haiderinstitute.edu.au. If you go, well, I've done a couple of these units, then as long as we've got some evidence to say that you have done that, you can get a credit transfer for it. Okay, so the LSO team will help you with that. So how do you connect with your trainer? Again, through the LSO at haiderinstitute.edu.au. You can book with a trainer by Calendly. So we're available for your learner support sessions. We call them an LSM, which is a learner support meeting. We can give you a Calendly link, and on auto, it would have book here. But otherwise LSO will organise that for you, but you've got a link. We're also opening up Calendly links. If you've got role plays that you want to do, then you can go ahead and book them in, or you can ask your trainer, or you can email, and as soon as there's some availability. So if you're having any trouble at all, tech trouble, glitches, then take it to LSO at Haider Institute. So safe, supported, supervised, so professional learning environment, that's our workplace culture. And then ensure that you reach out if you've got any other things that are happening externally that you feel you might need to navigate the space differently. If you're feeling a little overwhelmed, just know that, there's no pressure coming from us to you in the time that you take with your studies, but a diploma is expected anywhere between 12 and 18 months. But of course, we vary that as we go along. You may not yet know if that's what you need, but just know that if you're having contact with your learner support officers, then all of that information will come to you. We need you to reach out and let us know, because it is self-directed learning. So this is just a little bit about self-care, but you've got a learner's handbook. Go back to that, because there's a bit of helpful information in there. So I like to do a frequently asked questions. On this slide, in this link, there is a recording there about role plays. So you might find that really helpful. And role plays are approximately 50% of your studies. So some of them are 5 minutes long, or 10 minutes, or 15. Some you must do with an assessor in real time. So that's got to be booked in. Some it'll say do with a family member or friend or a peer from class, and it doesn't require an assessor. Then you can go ahead and organise that between each other, or you could get family or friends. You will need to coach them a bit. It doesn't matter if they're reading off the script, but it really does matter if you do. That is not how we would work with a client. So we're looking for your nonverbal language, your engagement, your connection. The only way we can do that is if you don't read off a screen and if you don't read a script. We're actually looking at what's your engagement style. There's a couple of really helpful TEDx talks and things like that. Michael Bungay has one called Taming Your Advice Monster, one of my favorites. That's good, but there's some great ones on motivational interviewing as well. So look a little further. Your learner guide is incredible. It's a great resource. You get one for every unit as well. Save those and then keep them in a folder. Set up your study folder, and then inside drop another folder in there and download your documents, any of your templates that you need to on your simulated workplace environment called First Access. When you're looking for a template, then your instructions will say go into First Access. You'll find it there. So if you need to book in a role play or you need support, this one here is your book a meeting. That's our general one. So if you hover over this when you get this back in your recording, you can hit CTRL and click, and that will open that up in Calendly for you. The learner support officers, that's really important to be able to get hold of Hader. And then, of course, I've got my email up there, but you have a different trainer, which, of course, would be Dwayne at Hader Institute. But our trainers do not get their emails because not all trainers work full time. So when they come into class, they're often leaving their day job in the sector and jumping in to teach. And the emails can get really high volume. And what we don't want is if your trainer is only checking their emails once a week, you've waited a whole week and you have not heard anything back. And we can do better than that because we want those expectations to be met for you. So if you send it to lso@haderinstitute.edu.au, that will get assisted. If they cannot and they know it needs a trainer, they will send it back to me anyway. And then I'll delegate it out, or I'll jump in and I'll assist as well. So I hope you found that helpful. That's your Hader Institute induction. I'll just stop sharing there. And following this induction, which you should have an induction at the beginning of every new unit because we may have new learners, whether they're in class or not. This is great as a refresher if you have been in class for a while. Now we're going to follow with 2 other segments and then any of those extra resources that come with that. From time to time, you'll get some extra videos. So when we're in class, we do not record a video unless it's Hader intellectual property. But when it comes to role plays and that as well, I am going to add that because as part of an induction is to let you know what do we look for when we're doing role plays. And I think it's helpful to just have a very brief micro skills conversation. What are we looking for? How are we going about it? How do you book it? And that as well. So thanks everybody. And I hope you enjoyed tonight's class, which is going to be following this.